Released in 1985, A View to a Kill marks the end of Roger Moore's 13-year span as James Bond. Generally seen as one film too many, his seventh and swan song performance is certainly not his best, bolstered only by one particularly memorable villain. When a Russian microchip is found to be an exact replica of a British prototype, Bond is sent to San Francisco to investigate its manufacturer, Max Zorin. Whilst doing so, he uncovers a plot to flood Silicon Valley, killing millions and leaving Zorin with a worldwide microchip monopoly. With the Battle of the Bonds over, A View to a Kill renews a more austere tone. Well, the film does start off with snowboarding to the Beach Boys, but aside from a few quips, the film is decidedly absent of gags. Unfortunately, A View to a Kill demonstrates that gritty isn't always great. A Bond film, however serious, has got to have at least some charm to it. For Your Eyes Only did that through the character of Topol, and dare I say, even BB. Aside from maybe Patrick Macnee as Sir Godfrey Tibbett, A View to a Kill is lacking and ultimately leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And let's get the obvious out of the way, Roger Moore's age. It's used as a nail in the coffin for A View to a Kill, and rightly so. Moore has said on reflection he was about 900 years too old for the part by 1984, when the film was shot. With the amount of stunt work featured, we no doubt see more footage of doubles than we do of Roger Moore himself. It may also be the reason for why much of the film is shot with an ugly soft focus. Nothing hides those wrinkles better than some blur and a crap ton of makeup. Well, that's not true. Plastic surgery is far more effective, but let's not get too personal now. A better route to have gone down is making light of Bond's advancing years. An old dog who's been in the game too long. Hell, they did it in Skyfall and Craig had only done 2 films.
You know the rules of the game. You've been playing it long enough. We both have.
Maybe too long.
Speak for yourself.
Piling on the makeup, the hip leather jackets and the sunglasses only has the opposite effect and makes Bond look even more out of place. At least the former would have allowed Moore to bow out with some dignity, but alas, it was never to be. But there's one character that makes A View to a Kill truly worth watching. No, it's not Stacey Sutton, played by Tanya Roberts, who managed to perfect her scream of "James" down to an ear-bursting screech. James! 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 A View to a Kill? More like A View to a Shrill? And no, it's not Grace Jones either, though her performance as Mayday is a memorable one. It's a shame the character wasn't explored further to give her sacrifice some more oomph. Of course, it's Christopher Walken that steals the show. His on-screen presence as a psychopathic industrialist carries the film. His blonde hair and wild eyes leaves you transfixed on his every word. Speaking of which, that famous Walken cadence helps the character seem truly insane.
What have they done?
You discharged her. So she and her accomplice came here to kill you. Then they set fire to the office to conceal the crime, but they were trapped in the elevator and perished in the flames.
But that means I would have to be
dead.
And if that wasn't enough evidence, he even follows the Joker's advice.
As my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with a smile.
This would also be Lois Maxwell's final appearance as Moneypenny. Much like M, she was an anchor to Bond's briefing and appeared in every film thus far, always ready for a flirtatious quip with 007. Although her role was small, it was always a major part of the Bond formula. As a welcome shift in genre, Duran Duran's theme song for A View to a Kill is also worth mentioning. After a number of more ballady tracks, the Bond series was given a new wave pop single to freshen things up a bit. It was a huge success and reached #1 in the US, despite the lyrics not making a lick of sense. A View to a Kill opened to big box office sales, but the critical response was less than stellar, and today it's viewed as one of the worst entries to the series. It marked the departure of the longest running Bond so far, and one that had a lot of weight on his shoulders to begin with. It's easy for critics to dismiss his films for their light-hearted nature, but following Connery, Roger Moore helmed the series towards continued success that could so easily have been jeopardised into failure. He ensured that Bond is still with us to this day, and even after all the critiquing, he's still my favourite Bond. But the show must go on, and the time had come for a new actor to become the face of Agent 007.
I find a computer indispensable. According to the computer, we have several horses that might interest you.
Splendid.
Would you be interested primarily in stamina or speed?
Well, a little of both would be ideal.